Question: does wine get better with time? And how was the only way you will actually know if it got better with time? Unless you lived in the past and the future. Because there's a neat saying that wine gets better with time. Can that be proven? Let's say you invented some wine in the 1900s. You drank that same wine your whole life. It tasted the same your whole life. And just before you died, you told somebody that this is some good wine. They was like, well, it must get better with time because he still like that wine. Thus, the stereotype of wine gets better with time. Let's see if we can break that down and add logic to it. Let's say they made some wine in the year 2000, our era, and we drunk it in 2000. 10 years later, we drunk it 2010. It tastes the same. 20 years later, it tastes the same because our taste buds has actually conformed to this wine. 30 years later, our taste buds has conformed to this taste, so it tastes just the same. So that's 30 years. Add on another 30 years. Let's say you done stop drinking, right? You don't drink anymore. Then you decide to take a sip of that wine. And that wine is delicious. Mm-hmm. It's delicious because your taste buds has not conformed to that wine. Right?
Right.
But if you've been drinking it for 60 years, it tastes like the first time that your ass drunk it.
Right.
Therefore, you really can't prove that wine gets better with time because your taste buds actually change with time. How can I prove it? Mm-hmm. Me personally, I used to hate lima beans when I was a kid. Now I'm grown, they're not so bad. The hell with broccoli as a kid. Mm-hmm. Number one dish as an adult, broccoli with cheese. Mm-hmm. Number one dish. Favorite of all is the one dish that I freaking hated as a child. So how can you infinitively, I think that's how you say it, believe that wine gets better with time, in which time changes everything? I used to put salt on a lot of stuff. I used to put sugar on a lot of things. Now I rarely use salt. Still tastes pretty good. I rarely put sugar in things. Still tastes pretty good. Because my taste buds has changed and realized I don't need that much to get an effect. So how can you prove without a shadow of a doubt that wine gets better with time? How about this? A person who hates wine or grapes, 20 years later, they still hate wine and grapes. The wine didn't get better, not even enough for them to be like, oh, not so bad. No, they still hate wine and grapes. Make sense?
Yeah.
They still hate it, but it's supposed to have gotten better with time. I don't understand it. I understand that it's a thing that will make you buy an older generation of wine, but what you don't realize is that older generation of wine tastes the same damn way as that new generation when they created it. Tastes the fucking same. They confusing you, making you think 50 years later it tastes different. No, it don't. Been drinking beer since I was a teenager. It tastes the same fucking way as an adult. As if when I was a child. How come they don't say beer gets better with time? Because they know your ass can prove that. Because you're alive to prove that. Do you think they were saying wine gets better with time when they first invented wine? Soon as it came out, they was like, hey man, try some of this. But in 50 years, it's going to taste even better. Trust me. Watch. So you telling me I got to drink it for 50 fucking years to get the full effect? No. After 500 years, it'll taste even better. After 250 years, this wine is going to be off the fucking chain. You do realize we don't live that long, right? Doesn't matter. It's still going to get better with time. It doesn't matter. Therefore, you cannot negate nothing that they say. Because you don't live that long. And even if you did live to be even older than other folks, you probably done stop drinking. Therefore, you can't prove them wrong. Right?
Right.
You can't prove them wrong.
No.
So they can say it all they want, that wine gets better with time, and you can't prove it.
It's true.
You know why you can't prove it? Because they don't say how long it's going to take for it to get better. Hey man, what we really meant, 1,000 years is going to be off the chain. That's what we really meant. We meant like in another 1,000 years, this wine going to be off the chain. I know it sucked now, but it's going to be off the chain in 1,000 years. Just hold on, watch, and trust me that this wine gets better with time. They never tell the truth like, you get older as you drink this wine in time. That's the truth. Your ass just get older with the wine in time.
Yeah.
Now that can be proven. Same bottle, different age, you got older with the wine during that time. It's the truth. It's a fun fact. If anybody want to prove me wrong, live to be 1,000. Live to be about 500. Because as long as you drinking wine from your time, or so-called other time, it tastes the same. It's regular wine with a cool sand. That's what it is. It's regular wine
Okay.
with a cool sand. You know what? We need something that can make wine last forever. What lasts forever that you can't prove? Time. You can't prove time. You know how I know you can't prove time? Because the government switches your time every year.
Yeah.
How can you switch time, which is everlasting? Manipulate time. No, you can't.
You can't do it.
Just because Mr. Government, just because I have to get up an hour early, doesn't mean it ain't that damn time that it was before I had to get up early. And when you switch it back, I knew it was that time because I had to get up at that time once before. That was that time. That you switch back and mess with me, then switched it back and messed with me again. Now you can manipulate your system, but you can't manipulate that wine that you saying getting better with time. Because can't nobody prove it. Because as far as I know, and tell me if I'm wrong,
Okay.
our time run the fuck out.
Yep.
And we die.
Yes.
Thus, you will never experience that ultimate wine taste because your taste bud change and your body structure change and go back to dust.
Right.
Am I right?
That's right.
Okay, I just debunked that bull ass shit. Bye.